The evergreen valley had always been a sanctuary of life. Towering pines stretched toward the sky, their green canopies whispering secrets to the wind. The rivers ran clear and cold, reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. Deer wandered the meadows, eagles soared above, and deep within the heart of the forest, a mother bear watched over her tiny cubs. But peace shattered one summer evening. A bolt of lightning sliced through the sky, striking the dry forest floor. Within minutes, flames flickered to life, spreading faster than the wind itself. What began as a spark turned into a roaring inferno, consuming everything in its path. Animals fled in panic, their instincts guiding them away from the approaching devastation. Amid the chaos, a mother bear charged through the smoke, her cubs scrambling to keep up. But in the confusion, her smallest cub tripped over a fallen branch. He let out a desperate cry as the fire closed in. The mother turned, her dark eyes wide with fear. She roared, calling him toward her, but a burning tree collapsed between them. Smoke thickened, obscuring her vision. She searched frantically, but the fire was relentless. With a final, mournful cry, she was forced to flee. The cub curled into a trembling ball, his tiny body surrounded by embers. Ranger Tom had spent over 2 decades protecting Evergreen Valley. He had fought forest fires before, but this one was different, more vicious, more merciless. Armed with nothing but his fire-resistant jacket and an unyielding sense of duty, he navigated the smoke-filled woods, searching for stranded animals. Then, through the deafening roar of the flames, he heard it. A faint, pitiful cry. Tom followed the sound, his heart pounding. And there, half buried beneath burning debris, lay a tiny bear cub. His fur was scorched, his body trembling in fear. He was too weak to move. Tom didn't hesitate. He grabbed the smoldering branches and flung them aside, ignoring the sting of heat on his hands. Carefully, he wrapped the cub in his jacket, shielding him from the embers still falling around them. "It's okay, little guy," he murmured. "I've got you." The cub whimpered, but did not resist. With the fire closing in, Tom sprinted through the forest, dodging falling branches and navigating the thick smoke. His lungs ached, his vision blurred, but he refused to stop. At last, he broke free from the blaze, carrying the cub to safety. The Wildlife Rescue Center became the cub's new home. Tom and the other rangers worked tirelessly to heal his burns and nurse him back to health. He was fragile at first, unable to eat or move much, but as the weeks passed, his strength returned. Tom named him Ash, a reminder of the fire that had nearly taken his life. At first, Ash was cautious, hesitant to trust, but slowly he warmed to Tom, recognizing him as the man who had saved him. He would nuzzle into Tom's hands, playfully tug at his sleeves, and follow him around the center like a lost pup. The once frightened cub became a ball of energy, climbing trees, chasing leaves, and tumbling through the grass. But as the months passed, Tom knew what had to happen. Winter approached. The forest, though scarred by the fire, had begun to heal. It was time for Ash to return to the wild, to reclaim the life that had been taken from him. The day of release was bittersweet. Tom led Ash deep into the forest, far from human settlements. The cub, now stronger and more confident, sniffed the air, his instincts guiding him toward his true home. Tom knelt beside him, resting a hand gently on his head. "You're ready, buddy," he whispered. Ash looked up at him, his dark eyes filled with something indescribable. Not fear, not sadness, but understanding. Then, with a final nudge against Tom's hand, he turned and disappeared into the trees. Tom watched until Ash was nothing more than a shadow in the wilderness. He told himself it was for the best. A year passed. The forest, once blackened by fire, now thrived with new life. Green shoots pushed through the earth, and animals returned to their home. Tom often thought about Ash. He wondered if he had survived, if he had found his place among the wild bears. Then, one crisp autumn morning, something extraordinary happened. Tom was near his cabin when he heard a rustling in the underbrush. He turned, expecting to see a deer or a fox, but instead, standing just a few feet away, was Ash. The cub was no longer a cub. He was bigger now, his fur thick and healthy, his posture strong. But his eyes, the same eyes that had once looked up at Tom in the fire, still held that same warmth. Tom's breath caught in his throat. "Ash," he murmured. The bear let out a soft grunt, a sound filled with familiarity. He stepped closer, sniffing the air as if to make sure Tom was real. And then, in a moment that left Tom speechless, Ash did something incredible. He pressed his massive head against Tom's chest, just as he had done when he was a cub. Tom felt a lump rise in his throat. He reached out, placing a gentle hand on Ash's thick fur. "You remember, don't you?" he whispered. Ash let out a deep, rumbling sound. Not a growl, but something softer, something almost affectionate. Then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, he turned and lumbered back into the forest. Tom thought it was a one-time visit. But the next autumn, Ash returned, and the year after that. Every fall, when the leaves turned golden and the air grew crisp, the bear would come back. Sometimes he would stay for hours, playing near the ranger's cabin, rolling in the leaves like he had as a cub. Other times, he would simply watch from a distance, ensuring his old friend was still there. Tom never tried to tame him, never fed him, never caged him. Their bond was built on trust, not dependence. The townspeople called it a miracle, a story of friendship that defied nature itself. But to Tom, it was something simpler. It was a promise, a silent agreement between a man and a bear, forged in fire and strengthened over the years. A reminder that kindness is never forgotten. And as long as the leaves continued to fall, Ash would always return.